What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Robin Steele.
MC4.
We're coming at you live with another top 5 transfers. And today we're taking a look at the EPL.
Which is probably our most familiar league. It's what we get on TV here. It's where our favorite teams play. Rob is a Chelsea fan, me is an Arsenal fan. And this top 5, especially with the latest developments from today, is going to be a good discussion for our two teams. But first, I guess we'll jump into the number 5 transfer. Not necessarily for like the goodness about it, but it's just like it needs to be talked about, and that is Luke Shaw going to Manchester United from Southampton for 34 million euros. 34 million euros.
Okay.
Realistically, personally, I'll get mine out of the way. He's probably at most worth 20, and like aside from the fact that he has a whole lot of upside, probably gonna be the future left back, and he also takes up one of those like designated England spaces, which makes him slightly more valuable than getting a player from Europe.
Yeah.
They drastically overpaid for him, and kudos to Southampton because they knew they were getting fucked as a selling club, and then they made sure that they fucked Man U pretty hard here. So
no 18-year-old player, none, is worth 30 million. None. I don't care. I don't care who you are. Remember Lukasz?
Yeah.
Of course you don't, because he went to PSG and he hasn't done shit. He went for like 50 million. Insane. He's not Luke Shaw. Yeah, okay, we can talk about how he has a really high ceiling on his development, but at the same time, he still needs time to develop. He's not gonna, whatever. Maybe he'll start. Maybe he'll start every game for Manchester United next season. Guess what? He's not gonna be a top 5 left back in the league. He's not gonna be like that probably for at least 2 or 3, maybe even 4 years. And the fact that he's so young, he might never ever be that. You know what I mean? He's not guaranteed. He's one injury away from not realizing his potential.
He'd be like an Andy Carroll,
overhyping,
or Jack Wilshere, a guy that can never get off.
Yeah, sure. So for that price, way too high. I mean, as a Chelsea fan, we also took a look at Luke Shaw, but man, how can you justify that price tag? Maybe even 12 million pounds for an 18-year-old is even if he's a prodigy player and he's a defender, an 18-year-old defender.
But I think one thing that's telling as an Arsenal fan is that if this guy was really that good, Arsenal is 100% the team that buys these young players. And think about all the young players they bought. They bought, Walcott when he was young from Southampton. They bought Oxlade-Chamberlain when he was young. All these guys, none of them would cost more than 10 million pounds.
Yep.
I think Oxlade-Chamberlain might have been 12. The fact that Luke Shaw, similar situation, similar ceiling, similar hype around him, 34. That's
insane.
Okay, so moving on. Number 4.
We'll come back to that.
Number 4 is going to be Dusan Tadic, who Southampton bought with some of the outrageous amount of money they got from selling. They lost Lambert.
From selling their team, basically.
Yeah, they lost Alana, Lambert, Luke Shaw. Looks like they're going to be losing that Lovren guy as well. Tadic is going to be an excellent signing. 16 goals, 14 assists last year in the Eredivisie for 14 million. Instantly going to probably take up Alana's role in the offense. I just think that's a good signing. Obviously, he was highly regarded as the top player in the Eredivisie, which is really saying something when you had the likes of Depay, who really showed up in the World Cup, and you got that Fenerbahce guy, the type of La Liga, got 30-some goals. I mean, I think that it's a good, solid signing. He has all the potential to be the next big guy. That unfortunately, that if he really pans out, he's probably just be the next big guy that they sell. I think he's only 22, 23 too as well.
Whatever, man. That's the next big guy that they sell for $50 million.
We're gonna have so much money in 2 years. So still on Southampton, 3 in a row. Southampton. Number 3 is going to be Adam Lallana going to Liverpool from Southampton for 31 million euros. Obviously, Lallana had a pretty breakout season last year. 10 goals, 7 assists. Also did a lot off the ball. I mean, obviously those stats, 31 million. You're like, what the fuck, doesn't really add up? But he was an absolute playmaker, excellent passing. Probably, he's not like a Luke Shaw young. I think he's probably he's just into his prime right now. But he's definitely going to be probably the somewhat short-term replacement for when Gerrard slows down.
Yeah, which is right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Gerrard had a good year last year. I'd say he still has another season.
He had a good year, but I would say that if you take a look at his play last year, the number 1 play that fucked Liverpool out of the when he tripped and he fucking at the end his legs went. That's telling for Gerrard. I don't know. I mean, Gerrard's not an overrated player, and I think that in short term, Lallana will be really good playing alongside of him. And
plus, he can also play as a left winger or left midfield.
Sure, and he's a good passer of the ball, which is Brendan Rodgers' MO, right?
Yeah.
He's trying to create his own sort of Barcelona.
Yeah, they're trying to get a lot of England players together. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
So I mean, even though I'm a Chelsea fan and not necessarily a Liverpool fan, I like what they're doing. Them and Tottenham are both 2 teams that try to buy more local.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say, and I mean, it's going to be good. It's going to be nothing but good things for Lallana himself in terms of his development. So yeah, smart. I mean,
it's a big club.
Yeah, smart signing. Smart signing.
Moving on to number 2 is going to be Cesc Fabregas, who's a fucking piece of shit garbage, who went to Chelsea from Barcelona for 36 million euros last year with Barcelona. 13 goals for, 16 assists. I'll talk about it briefly. I think he's. I liked that Arsenal pretty much gave him the middle finger when he came and said Arsenal had the first choice to come by him. Obviously, he would just hinder the ability for Ramsey and Wilshere to develop, and obviously that's the direction they want to go. But
they took down a banner. You hear that? Yeah. They had some banner on their new on the stadium, a Fabregas like thank you banner.
That makes sense.
And the second he signed for Chelsea, they're like, oh, out of coincidence, we just we got rid of that.
Although this stinks almost as much as Van Persie.
Yeah.
He's no matter what path he took, he still went from Arsenal to a rival at some point. Yeah. But quickly, as a non-bias, this is a good move for Chelsea. At the very least, he adds a nice rotational depth, so they're always going to have fresh elite legs in the middle. But, I mean, realistically, I hope he fucking tears his ACL.
Well, okay. Well, I'm talking as a Chelsea fan. I mean, with okay, Lampard's declined in recent years, but I think that bring Fabregas in, he's going to very much be able to pick up sort of where Lampard left off. And depending on what kind of formation you play, he can play as a creative sort of center mid. He can go forward, like attacking. I've seen him play false nine striker. So, I mean, he's versatile, and, where he might not start every game because of Chelsea's competitive midfield, but certainly he's going to be a great tool.
All right, now going to 1A and 1B. We had a 1A, and then we had to add a 1B for, if you guys are watching, we're recording this on the 10th of July. You're probably going to know what we're going to talk about, but we'll talk about mine first, because we already just did Chelsea. Arsenal have announced the signing of Alexis Sanchez from Barcelona for 30 million euros. Obviously, last year, 21 goals scored, 10 assists, an absolute playmaker. Looked like Chile's most dangerous player on the pitch during the World Cup. He's one of those guys that, he was very, very good at Udinese, and then he went to Barca and kind of pulled one of those, like, all right, great, I went from being, like, one of the best players in the Serie A to being more, like, am I going to play? How many games am I really going to get on this Barca team? Because there's so much talent. And then now he's going to Arsenal, where it sucks kind of because now we had Walcott, and then on the opposing side, kind of like Santi Cazorla, Oxlade-Chamberlain rotation for minutes. Now it's going to be clear cut. It's going to be Walcott on one side, and then Sanchez on the other. But that just adds depth because, I mean, Oxlade-Chamberlain has showed he can play as a center mid pretty effectively. Yep. And that just adds a great rotation for Arsenal because, let's be honest, Walcott can never stay healthy, and Oxlade-Chamberlain's looking like he's going to struggle to stay healthy. So, I mean, I'm happy with this move. I mean, personally...
You bought yourself a starting 11 player, which is something that Arsenal almost never does.
And he also has potential to play striker. Right now, as it stands, Giroud's our only guy. So, I mean, obviously it wouldn't be ideal that Sanchez starting as because it looks like to keep the formation, he's starting as the sole striker. Yep. He's not a target guy. But the fact that we have a guy now that is instant depth, just with being... worst case scenario, if someone goes down, you can move him up top and then have your depth there with Cazorla or Oxlade-Chamberlain bump in.
Sanchez is a really strong winger, you know what I mean? For a winger, he is very strong. So I mean, it's going to be one of those things that even though his strength isn't going to count for as much in the EPL, I think that he's still going to give a lot of
strength.
Exactly, he's going to be one of the strongest wingers in the league. Coupled with obviously he knows how to score and he has good dribbling. He's going to be a nightmare for any left back.
He's arguably probably the best, strongest, the best combination of speed and strength.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, he's up. Well, you can argue.
He's stronger than Hazard. Yeah. Say he's like. Then you got.
Well, much it. In the league, certainly. I mean, in the world, I was thinking, like, well, Hulk is, I would say, might be your strongest, best winger combo. But I would say put Sanchez close behind. Yeah. Not necessarily in the strength, but certainly in all other aspects. So I don't know. And I think that he'll be able to use his strength to stay up and then allow him to use his skill and stuff to be really effective in the league.
Quickly, it looks like they're going to get Debuchy to fill Sagna's role. So if they could just go ahead and sign Khedira, this will be the best offseason as an Arsenal fan since I've been a fan.
Yeah, seriously.
And 1B, we'll start out as 1B, who was original number 1, is Diego Costa going to Chelsea. Currently we have him for 40 million euros. Yeah. Obviously last year, 36 total goals scored, 4 assists. Obviously... you may have to question his momentum and his mindset after a pretty disastrous campaign with Brazil. Not really due to any fault of his own. It just wasn't the right system. But that has just... I mean, when you get paid for 40 million, I mean, you're the type of class player that Costa is, you don't really have to worry about morale. But surely he's not coming in on like the best horse. Not like he came right from Atletico, scoring all those goals. But I mean, ultimately, I think we both can agree that he's not really going to look like he's going to pay dividends till at least like a month into the Prem. He's going to need a couple... I can't even think there's been many strikers that have come in and instantly just like, I'm not going to expect him to score like his first game. Like, there's a hat trick or 2 goals for him. It's going to take him a couple games to get adjusted to be an entirely new system.
I am a little worried that he's going to turn into a Dzeko, not like how Dzeko got mothballed on Man City necessarily, but the fact that he ripped up the Bundesliga and then came to a league that was super physical and struggled. Yeah. But that being said, I think Dzeko would have eventually excelled had Man City actually given him a chance to continue playing, which Chelsea, I would say, will. Yeah. And I just want to throw some stuff out here in terms of the transfer fee. Although we did pay $40 million for him, Diego Costa is one of those guys that you might disagree with that fee. You might say that's too much. I would say you might be right. But when you look at the cost, like sort of how these fees break down, Diego Costa is owned by multiple parties, not just not just Atletico Madrid. He's also owned by Braga, which I think is where he came from, and he's also owned by a third party, like a development, like a sport development thing. Which
not all that money went right to Atletico.
So I think they said, and I'm sorry for the conversion thing, but Atletico only actually made £16 million off of the Diego Costa transfer. The rest of it went to other things. But the only thing is that Chelsea bought we actually bought the sports firm that trained him. So 20% of that fee actually we didn't have to pay because we already owned that bid. So take 20% off the 40 million, and that's actually what we played. So I don't know what that is. I'm not doing the math, but it's less.
And comparing squads, it's almost a similar style. Like Chelsea is.
Oh, guaranteed.
Atletico Madrid is the Chelsea of where you start
sure.
from, and then you gotta figure where you had the wingers on Atletico would be like that Turan guy, and then I don't know what Koke.
Yeah.
Now you give him. Well, I mean, the other side's still undecided between William, but then you got Hazard.
Yeah.
That's pretty dangerous. I think it's gonna be a good side. I just think it might not pay off right away.
No, but he does. It will give him the best chance because I think that their systems that Chelsea and Atletico played are very similar, as opposed to the system that Spain played, where he failed miserably in. But that's not necessarily all his fault because of the hamstring. We know that he wasn't 100% in the World Cup. Anyways,
there you go, guys. Those are the top 5.5, 6 transfers for the EPL so far. We're going to make sure you subscribe, as we're doing this for almost every week if we can, for how many transfers we've done. Leave a comment in the comment section below what you think about these EPL transfers. And until next time, guys, it is your boy C4.
And Rob Steele.
And peace out.
Like this.